Alright, on page 276, this is exercise 43, and I'm going to be adding these two rational expressions. And I notice I've got radicals in both numerator and denominator, and I notice in the denominator my radicals are in binomials. But the first thing I really want to consider is that this is just adding two fractions, and so I need to rewrite these in the lowest common denominator. So if I figure out what the LCD is, I've got square root of w plus 1, and that would have to be multiplied by square root of w minus 1. So I notice that those are conjugates, and so I know that the radical is going to be going away when I actually do multiply those together. So first, the one on the left here, root w plus 1 in the denominator, has a missing factor of square root of w minus 1. So I'm going to multiply that by 1 in the form of root w minus 1 over root w minus 1. And I'll put a bracket, parentheses there to show that I'm going to multiply those together. Then this one is missing the factor of the root w plus 1. So I'll multiply this by 1 in the form of root w plus 1 over root w plus 1. So both of these are now being multiplied by 1 to rewrite over a lowest common denominator. So my denominator now is going to be the full square root of w plus 1 square root of w minus 1. Okay, so, and we can simplify that later, but in the numerator I'm going to have to distribute root w over both of those, and same here. So I'm going to have the square root of w times the square root of w is just a w, and then minus 1 times the square root of w, plus, and then the square root of w times the square root of w is, again, positive square root of w, and the square root of w times the positive 1 is, oops, this one's just a w, is the square root of w. So I have negative square root of w and a positive square root of w are going to cancel each other out, and that's just a w. I have a w plus a w, which is a 2w. So the numerator is 2w, and the denominator, if I multiply those together, we know that I'm going to get the first term squared minus the last term squared. So that's a 1, and the first term is the square root of w. So I'm going to end up with w minus 1. So 2w over w minus 1 is the simplified sum of the two original fractions. And that's it.